Hey, I'm Jason Creel. I want to share with you my personal choice for a string trimmer. I just bought this one. I have used it a few times, but I want to show you how I set mine up and talk to you a little bit about that. So the string trimmer I've used for the past 3 or 4 years is a Husqvarna 326 LS. I bought this one online, a place called I think the site's sleequipment.com. It's a great site. They have mowers and everything, but I think shipping and all, it was maybe $300. So basically, I want to show you how I set up my string trimmer. Well, first let me just tell you why I like the Husqvarna 326 LS. And this may be a slightly older model, but you can still buy them new. I know there's a 327, but I'm not as familiar with those to know if they're the same. But when I'm judging a string trimmer, and I've used a lot of them, I had Steel, Red Max, Shindawa, Echo, Husqvarna. Maybe that's it. I've had a Kawasaki. But what I like about this one and things that I judge them on, one is the weight, and I know a pound difference doesn't make a huge difference, but some of them just feel heavy. This one is about 9 pounds, which is about as light as you're going to find for a commercial string trimmer. So that's not a huge deal, but it is nice that it's light. To me, it's about the best combination of weight and power. So it's lightweight, has good power. Another thing that I judge a string trimmer on is how well will it perform upside down when you're edging. So, you flip this one upside down, it doesn't miss a beat. Where some, for whatever reason, some brands just do not perform as well upside down. So, durability, these, when you crank them, they're basically idle forever. So as far as it running, but I've been getting several years out of using one, so I think they're not going to last forever. String trimmers, in my opinion, are not what they used to be, but they're still, as far as durability, you can run it every day, all day, and shouldn't have a problem. The downside on, a couple of downsides on this particular trimmer, like I said, it's still my favorite, but one, the handle is kind of a cheap plastic, where other trimmers will have sort of a rubber material or something that's a little more comfortable. This is plastic, and it's not a problem as far as it breaking, but from a comfort standpoint, I think it could be a little improved. The other, and would be my biggest criticism of this particular trimmer, when you first get out in the morning, it's going to crank pretty much every time, and throughout the day. But what I have found is toward the end of the day, if you've been running it all day, seems like, I don't know if it has to do with the engine getting warmer or, I'm not much of a mechanic, but toward the end of the day, it seems to be more of a challenge to crank, and Husqvarna's, for whatever reason, seem to have to choke them to crank them almost every time, unless you just shut it off, and it'll obviously crank right back up. But even if you, just turn it off to go from one yard to another, and it's a 10-minute ride or so, you're probably going to have to choke it to crank it again. So that is what it is. And like I said, the longer the day goes on, it seems that they're more difficult to crank. But you just have to choke it and play with it and get them to crank. But once you crank them, they run forever. So anyway, it's not flawless. There's other good trimmers out there. This just happens to be the one that I prefer and find to be my favorite. I want to show you how I set mine up. Now, I just bought this one, but I have been using it. But I went ahead and put the original head back on just to show you. When it comes, comes with this head on it, and then they send you the guard. I personally don't put the guard on, and I know I've had some people point out about the effects of not having a guard. My thought on it is, I see a lot of people use a guard, and a lot of people don't use a guard. The guard obviously has a purpose. It not only keeps rocks and things from hitting you, it also can add protection to slinging rocks against a house or a car, that sort of thing. So if you're like me and you don't use a guard, you have to understand the added risk involved there, and it just makes you have to be even extra cautious. And the reason I don't use a guard, for me, I feel like without the guard, you know, I can just fit the trimmer in tighter spaces. So maybe I need, you know, there's whatever, some trees or up against the house, and you got to fit behind the air conditioner, or just different areas that I may not be able to fit the trimmer in with the guard on, that I can trim without it. Also, I can have a little bit longer line. You know, sometimes depending on the situation, I may want a shorter line or longer line, but I prefer, generally speaking, a little bit longer line than the guard will allow you to have. So to me, that's an advantage. The downside of no guard, obviously, as we've mentioned, the added risk of maybe breaking things, you know, and that's your own risk, and if you break it, you got to pay for it. So the other thing, I think I had a steel trimmer one time. I took it in to get service, and I think he said, you know, without a guard, your warranty is no good. And so I didn't realize that. In my opinion, most of the warranties on these trimmers are not that great. So anyway, I don't really worry about the warranty. I'm using it. If it lasts me 2 or 3 years, and then I, you know, get another one, then I feel like I've got my money's worth out of it. So I'm not concerned about voiding the warranty, but they do. The reason they say that is when you put out extra string, it does put a little more strain on it, and whether it's the engine or the clutch or things that it can put extra strain on, you know, you risk that your trimmer not going to last as long. So those are things to be concerned with. To me, I just want it customized the way I want to use it and what I feel most comfortable with. The guard, in my opinion, when I'm trying to edge, sometimes I can't see what I'm doing as good. So I prefer to not use it, but just understand the consequences if you go that route. So anyway, it comes with this head on it. It comes with a guard. I don't put that on, and you know, this is new, but I've been using it. But I use these speed feed trimmer heads that I think are, you know, fantastic. So all you do is you take a nail or a little Allen wrench. This one has a hole on the top. Some of them have on the side, and you just put the nail in the little hole, and it catches in a notch here, and then you can actually screw it the opposite way. So take that off, and then, you know, these speed feed heads, they come with different adapters. It just happens the one that was in here already fits my trimmer, but if you have a, you know, maybe if you have an Echo or a Steel or a different brand, you may have to insert a different adapter. But like I said, they do come with different sizes to fit most any trimmer. So anyway, I just take that off, and I put my speed feed head on. Give it a good twist there. Take the nail off. So I'm good to go. So this is how I use mine. No guard, speed feed head. It's ready to go. So anyway, I'm not saying this is the only trimmer out there. It's the one for me. And if you're looking for one to try out, I would recommend the Husqvarna 326 LS. Thanks.